we long for more still, because also you long for people to journey with you. You know what I mean? Be it a brand, maybe it's not the best partner to journey with because it changes so many times. The personalities inside the businesses change and dynamics change, but the journey remains because we forever evolving. We've given them such a big voice, and I don't think it's their responsibility to caretake that journey for us or with us. You know what I mean? We will lose them along the way.
Yeah.
Because at that time, everyone was excited about these journeys and conversations and connecting people and communities, subcultures, buzzwords. It was exciting. And then it just popped, poof, died. But the journey continues. The community still exists. And we now are finding it even more difficult to connect with one another because there's a big chunk that happens in between called life as well. So engineering ourselves within those journeys is important. But again, it's intention and just being deliberate about it.
Welcome to the Listen to Your Footsteps podcast. I'm your host, Kojo Baffoe. In this podcast, I speak to Africans from across a multitude of sectors, including business, art, culture, media, design, technology, advertising, and everything in between, delving into their journeys and reflecting on the lessons they have learned along the way. It's about gaining insight into why and how they do what they do. These conversations offer a treasure trove of takeaways on a wide range of topics, including craft, relationships, wellness, parenting, entrepreneurship, and much more.
It'll do well for them.
So I'm basically just going to do a quick intro, and then we'll just jump into it.
You know, I don't ever do these things.
Whatever.
So I'm going to give you my terms and conditions.
It's a bit too late.
It's too late now, bro.
We're recording as we speak.
But I'm inside.
So my guest today is Theresho Selesho, a creative and culture entrepreneur who has been involved behind the scenes in live music, entertainment, and experiential events for probably, over 20 years now?
Yeah,
I'm showing your age. You're growing old. He's CEO of Matchbox Live, Director of Strategy and Business Development at Boondoogle, South Africa, and Experiential Marketing Director at Geometry Global SA. Welcome.
Thank you.
Are you still doing all of those things?
I'm not doing all of that. It was nice to reflect on all of that stuff. It's stuff that I've done. And it's paths that I've walked as well.
So which are you doing, which aren't you doing?
At the moment, Matchbox Live, still running that business, and mainly social communications is where all my life resides.
Because you've always felt like you're doing a lot.
Yeah, we always have this chat. Yeah, it's always felt like I'm doing a lot.
Yeah.
I think I've done a lot. I do a lot of different kinds of projects. I've got a lot of different interests in live space or creating
So how do those
experiences.
projects sit? So I mean, do you have personal projects? Do you have a business projects, or is there some kind of structure behind?
So there's a structure. So on the live side, on the live event side, there are properties and events that have been created that the business owns. So from festivals and standalone events and tours, local tours, international artists that we bring out. That lives in Matchbox Live. Social communication is mainly the expression of things that I love and do. So there are some artists that we take care of and manage. There's some experiences that we create. We do some consultancy for brands, particularly brands that play in the culture space, art, music as well. And we do services. We provide services to some of these corporates and brands as well. But mainly operating in that intersection of, I always call it culture and commerce, that intersection of culture and commerce as well. So I straddle both sides, and that is run through social communications. So because of that, there's seemingly a lot of different projects. Sometimes we're just serving an artist water backstage, and that's how I roll. But I'm involved in that. Or sometimes we're doing strategy for a client, and all sorts of different things roll out. So when all the balls are in the air, it seems like a lot, but it's really not that much, actually. Yeah.
So if I'd met you as a 12, 13-year-old in Pretoria, and I said, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Sure.
What would your answer be?
At that time, I wanted to get into IT at that time. I loved computers, PCs, Winamp, those days, cracking code, PC formats. I used to read that magazine backwards. All of those kind of things used to interest me. And even at school, we used to burn discs, do this and that. And I wanted to get into that technology space. That was what was of interest to me as well. I've always had an affinity to art, culture, music. I grew up within a space where I was exposed to a lot of music in different ways as well. So, but IT and technology would have been the space that I thought I would end up in.
Was that the music and the kind of access and relationship with art and culture and stuff? Was that from your family, your
It
parents?
was from family. I grew up in church, so I couldn't sing. So you're part of the choir, but then you quickly realize there were better people who do this. So you're going to roll the cables, you're going to pack the drums, you're going to connect. And okay, I could be the guy when they rehearse on Thursday who sets up everything with the team, packs everything, and suddenly you're responsible for it. And then you're mixing the sound on Sundays. And then that becomes how I got introduced to production, per se, as well. And then I kind of fell in love with doing that. And even at school, in high school, for assembly, that's what I did at assembly, for speeches, for all of those kind of things. And then it's weaved into me getting into varsity, being part of RAG, and doing events on adversity as well, and being exposed to different cultural movements that were happening around that time, speaking about the poetry scene, the music space. And it was an exciting time. YFM was doing amazing things, signing deals for them to be media partners to some of the bashes and Ohu Week events that we were doing. And you were part of something that you've always aspired and seen as being far, but now you're in a boardroom with these guys from YFM to try and strike a deal, a media deal, which you kind of know nothing about as a 20-year-old at varsity. You just want them to help you sell the tickets that you need to sell and book some of the acts that they have on their lineups and on their rosters. So it was an exciting time to be part of that kind of movement and being able to speak to these talents directly, negotiating fees. I'm a student then, I'm 19, 20. And I'm trying to negotiate a fee with Oskido, DJ Monde, Kabzela, whoever it is at that time, Bofresh. So RAG was a charity organization where we raise funds, which we donate. So it also, we're approaching it from that point of view. It's not just a commercial play. You are helping us reach our target for the year.
So even in a negotiation around fees and
100%. Then I learned the art of negotiating with, this is what we need, this is what we can compensate you for, this is what the cause is, and this is the value we can provide for you as well. So all of that helped over a period of time craft how I approach deals, how I approach art, culture. I remember we did this celebrity car wash as one of the projects. We were short of X amount of money to reach the target, and we needed to create a project. Created this project where we got celebrities to come wash student cars, but you paid to get DJ Fresh, Monde, Christos to come wash your car, Unati. And the guys came through, which was amazing. They brought their friends. I got Roms Deluxe to design the poster. He was a rock star graphic designer who did the SABC1 rebrand. He used to work at Rage. I got a few people involved who were literally paying nothing to do those things for us. But if you look back on people's journeys and what they were contributing during that time, it's amazing to see the puzzle as well. So it's been an exciting ride up until this point.
I mean, I've always seen you as, well, you've always been kind of that person behind the scenes,
Sure.
right? But
Comfortable space.
I was looking at your stuff, and it's like in high school, you were also kind of leading the way.
Sure.
And I saw there's something around public speaking. And I saw that and I was like, oh,
How?
Theresho on stage.
Public speaking.
Being the public speaker.
Yeah, so it's funny in that my life has always led me into leadership position. As reluctant as I have been, it chose me, whether it was in primary school, in team sports, or at school, I was head boy at high school, for instance. I would have never thought I would be head boy because I was probably, I gave the school principal a run for his money. You know what I mean? I thought school at some point was the Pure Monate show. And I used to tell the principal about the Pure Monate show. But I was the head boy at that time and then joined RAG. So leadership spaces has always been, my life always led me into those kind of spaces because I guess I've had an affinity of how to connect with people and how to hear both sides. So whether you've got a student community that now needs to deal and craft ideas or how things are done with the principal and the leadership at a school level, someone must make sure both sides are hearing each other and find each other to achieve whatever needs to be achieved, both for the students and the teachers also have an obligation to achieve what they need to achieve. And then at varsity, it's the same. You're trying to throw a 10,000 people bash. The chancellor doesn't really want all of that in that time because it comes with a lot of risk. It's a lot of students. It's a lot of moving parts and risks. So finding each other at the table first before the glitz and the glam starts is where I've honed my art over time as well. I then studied international relations because of that, because diplomacy has always been a part of me. In high school, I got to go to a program called Presidential Classroom in DC. And that changed my view of life. First time flying, first time doing anything. I'm in standard 9, grade 11. And it's 400 kids, 40 countries, 10 kids per country. And it's like a mini UN. You're discussing global issues, this, that. And just an approach of seeing your counterparts or your peers and how they're thinking in the different environments that they come from, Asian kids, South American kids, and just the dynamics of how people and how dynamic people are blew my mind, and how a macro conversation like that can shape how you do your life on a day-to-day. And from that time, then I decided, okay, this IT thing is not going to work.
So that's why you jumped from BCom informatics.
Informatics.
For 1 year.
For 1 year, because my dad was like, yo, you have to finish this year, because I had a bursary and they were paying for it. It's like, my man, papa there last. So you must finish the year at least and then get the credits, and then you can figure out what you want to do. Then I'll let you go do the international relations, which worked out. I got a lot of credits, and half of that year was a free year, essentially. That's why I joined RAG, because I had a lot of time in my hands in that first year. And international relations really opened up my worldview, my own view of how I want to do things and how I do things and how to do things. Even today, it plays a role.
I mean, I can see it also. I think your temperament and what I know of you, like your temperament and your character enables you to operate within spaces where you have a lot of ego.
Yeah.
But like I get the sense that because of how you are and how you interact with people, it's hard if I am a particular type of person with an ego,
True.
It's hard for me to bring that to you.
Yeah.
And I can see how the grounding of just kind of these things you're involved with, but then actually going and study, because I was going to ask you, then international relations,
yeah.
like where does it fit? But when you describe it like that, like it makes perfect sense.
Sure.
Because you're also dealing with, it's always fascinating me how you're dealing with so many different cultures. Like you're doing stuff, not just here, but around the world.
True.
And having to manage egos and the different cultures.
Yeah,
and then sitting in Pretoria, which is
another country,
which has its own culture.
Pretoria is its own culture. Yeah, so that dynamic, I think, it fulfills me as well. You know what I mean? Sometimes I sit and wonder, like, I could have it easier than being always placing myself in agitated spaces. You know what I mean? sometimes I do want to press a default button because I think my life would have been easier, but I think I would be hella bored and hella frustrated by living a linear kind of life. I exist in a space where there are a lot of egos. I work with a ton of different artists, even creators, leaders in different spaces, whether it's a brand that wants to dictate what needs to happen in a cultural space or what the movement is, or big name artists that everyone must follow where the wind pockets are when that particular person moves in the room. So like how you've explained it is they never bring it to the table because I try and connect with the person and what we need to do as well. Yes, there's challenges. I've got an idea of this particular thing or that, or the people that we're meeting might not have our same beliefs or ideals or an approach to things. But making sure that we keep the important things important or finding each other, it's I think what I've come to do very well.
Because even intention, like
intention is key.
You have a particular intention for doing something, and the other person is here to just make money.
Sure.
So it's just about the numbers.
Yes, there's a tension there.
and so there is a tension, but it's finding, like you're saying, kind of finding that common ground.
Sure.
Like if we're doing it this way, if you give us the space to do it this way, you will get your money.
100%.
And we will fulfill
100%.
our intention with the thing.
Yeah. So value has always been key. So for two sides to see value and what value you are bringing, what I'm bringing, and how are we going to achieve value. You know what I mean? Give you examples of how part of the times that I met you in the poetry scene days, baseline days, and then you were the person conducting conversations at Swing Top Circles, for instance.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
I've forgotten about that.
It's young black guys who are now in industry, running agencies, businesses. It was an exciting time. And that was a beer brand trying to sell beer.
Yeah.
But they're trying to cultivate conversations and leadership and thought leadership and people connecting and having conversations and just finding each other.
And building community.
And building community.
Way, yeah.
Those are two different goals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But to try and create those environments, because I worked for the agency that created that and that were rolling that out. So trying to do that and doing it and seeing that it works, but it also fulfills me. Plus, it's a real thing. It's actual communities that have stayed with me for the past 10 years, 15 years, and to see how all of the different individuals have grown and have moved into different spaces. You can repeat that process, but with brands and people that have got that intention, that want to do things in that particular way. Because otherwise you can't force it. You know what I mean? And the results are not always going to be 100%. There's an uptake of this or that or whatever the case is. But the intention was right for that particular moment. And that's how
thinking
about
that time, and I'd forgotten about Swing Top Circle, because even when it started, it was very deliberate in terms of those of us, especially those of us who were brought on early.
Sure.
Where it's like, it's not just you attend this big event.
Sure.
Like you host your events or facilitate all of that. But at the time, it felt like this. It's like everybody was trying to do it.
Yeah.
And now with hindsight, you kind of go, it's sad because I think a lot of them got to the point where it's like, oh, but we're trying to sell beer.
Sure. Yeah.
And then the thing, let's say the soul to it, that was getting us to really connect with it, started getting lost.
Sure.
As they started to now, okay, let's ramp it up to sell a product.
Yeah. And having product.
And I think about, because especially that era when I was a Destiny man and being in magazine, like I was a part of so many things like that.
Sure.
That now I look back and it's like, they're all gone.
They're all gone. There's none of that.
And a lot of them ended what feels like they ended prematurely.
Sure.
Like there was still more.
Sure.
There were more legs to it.
There was still more, and I think we long for more still, because also you long for people to journey with you. You know what I mean? Be it a brand, maybe it's not the best partner to journey with because it changes so many times. The personalities inside the businesses change and dynamics change, but the journey remains because we forever evolving. Because for me, this is also part of the journey. We can sit across each other and have a conversation like this and speak about those moments and where it's led to today. Just reflecting. But brands we've given them such a big voice. And I don't think it's their responsibility to caretake that journey for us or with us. You know what I mean? We will lose them along the way. Because at that time, everyone was excited about these journeys and conversations and connecting people and communities, subcultures, buzzwords. It was exciting. And then it just popped, poof, died. But the journey continues. The community still exists. And we now are finding it even more difficult to connect with one another in our, whether it's on the web or this or physically, because there's a big chunk that happens in between called life as well. So engineering ourselves within those journeys is important. But again, it's intention and just being deliberate about it.
Would you say that subconsciously or consciously, that's why you also from very early created your own properties? So I remember like a common friend like Gerard.
Sure.
And Gerard and I were in business together. And when I left magazine, we started a business and we're just looking at different things. And we reached this point. I mean, we had meetings with you around Opikopi and all of these things, but it took us a while, but we reached the point where we recognized that we actually need to create our own properties because we were going to brands to say, this is what we can do for you. And they weren't getting it.
Sure.
And it's kind of like, we can take what you're doing, we can build this and a community and this and that. And after a while, it got so frustrating that we switched to going, okay, actually, let's create our own. We can still do that.
Sure.
But let's create our own properties as well to say, this is what we have.
Sure.
You can be part of it. You don't have to be. You don't have to be. We're not going to force you. We're going to go ahead. But here's an opportunity for you.
Sure. Again, I think Rag and Opikopi taught me that. Like building your own properties, no matter if you can organize a dope-ass braai and you can get 10 people to have an amazing time, you've started and you've done something.
Yeah.
Whether 5 years down the line or 2 years down the line, it's branded, you're selling tickets, it's a food experience, it's a whole another thing, but you started. And that's a promoter spirit, which you can't really teach.
Yeah.
You either have it and you've got the guts and the probiotics for it because it comes with, it's a lot of risk. It's a lot to take onto. It's the harder way to do it than providing a service for a brand that might get it this year. Next year, they can scrap it off the brand plan.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't exist. But you still wanted to do that particular thing. So building your community, I always tell young promoters that just start. Start with your 15 friends. They must come listen to you. And then I can believe that you really want to do this. And don't call me when it's 1,000 people and this thing's jumping because it's complicated by that time. Just start because people will start and build and protect their communities. Go a lot further because they know there's value there. Because then you can then start having conversations with external partners, brands, investors on them coming on board and you knowing exactly how you want them to come on board along the journey. Whether it happens or not. You know
where they're going to fit in. And if they're like, oh, actually we don't want to. It's like, no. Like I've already got this section covered, whether you're here or not.
And the hard thing is being able to move with or without them.
Yeah.
That's the holy grail. You must be able to do it with or without them as well. And that takes some doing. That takes, again, it's gung-ho. It's the punk way of doing it. And that's the promoter in me. That will always remain in me as well. Because if you can convince people to come along with you, whether you call it sales or you call it whatever you want to call it, is you can be in any environment if you've got that. Does not matter what industry it is, whether you are at a family meeting after a funeral, and the malumes are saying, okay, what are you guys planning for December? You must tell them, if you've got that and you know the people you're carrying, you can stand up and have your word and say, because then represent what you are about for that. Because a lot of people are not going to like it.
Yeah.
And you need to factor that in as well. So factor in whether it's pitching. 10 people are going to say no. One might say maybe. We might see you in 2 months. Call us again. So if you can't take those 10 no's, it won't work. You have to factor in the no every single day, every single time, whether you're representing an artist or a property, but building your own thing, key. For me, that's what is needed. Even owning our own spaces, you know what I mean? Because to create ideas where they live, you need a venue, you need this, and starting to own our own spaces was the next wave and the next important thing, where the perimeters are not just designed by the landlord because it has to work this way or that way, because it limits what you can do, what you can't do, and how you can extract value from what you're doing. So it also becomes important for us to start owning our own spaces as well, and also getting people who are not in our spaces, whether it's architects, builders, building owners who are fans of what we do, to understand that, hey, that warehouse that you're not using in your property portfolio, this is what I can do with it. I can pitch that idea to you at a dinner or at a braai, and it might make sense because you already have a knowledge and an affinity to what I do in my world. So you might let me utilize that warehouse, or we can take on a lease, versus me going to someone who it's about just rands and cents. I'm pitching hard pitch. It's cold by that time, you know what I mean? So speaking to each other in that regard, whether it's with our friends who are lawyers to craft some of the things that we do. So I'm always interested in having just diverse people around me, you know what I mean, that are close to me. So whether it's lawyers, accountants, people that can also challenge how I think and how I've structured my things. Because if you're so deep in it, you can get caught up in it in many different ways.
Yeah.
So sometimes I love having chats with my C-suite guys or corporate guys, the Centum guys or the architect who does not always understand the alternative life, creative industry, and the amount of risk we take on. Like, Dave, today, why? Like, why do you do that? You know what I mean? But it feeds us differently as well. Yeah.
And like you're saying, there is a value.
Sure.
I'm weirdly learning that very late in life, because I started a business, but I started a business without the intention of building a business. So I reached the point.
Get that, yes.
I reached the point where it's like, I'm not interested in scaling. I need a vehicle for all the things I've always wanted to do.
Sure.
So I registered this business, and it sat dormant I called it my play company.
Okay.
But then I got 1 or 2 clients where I needed a company to have the relationship.
Yes.
I mean, it's not me as an individual signing the contract. It needs to be a company. And
Sure.
I have an international client. So it and it's a PTY. So it needed that formality. But I'm still kind of just learning, keeping track of that and all of these things. But also the value in having conversations with, like you're saying, the corporate people, the C-suite people, the people who are trying to build big businesses.
Sure.
Just to kind of get a different perspective and then reflecting on it and bringing it back to what I'm trying to do with my business.
Sure.
And even questioning I'm not trying to build a business, I'm not trying to scale.
Yes.
But then reflect, I'm like in the middle of
Like, why? Why aren't you?
But am I not being forced to because of the things that I still want to do?
Sure.
There's the things I started with planning to do, but now I've got some things that I want to do, and it's like I'm going to need support.
Yeah.
So how do I structure that support? But
100%.
even if I structure that support as all freelance,
Sure.
it's still a structure.
It's a structure. That's, for me, it's about the structure. And our creative businesses have always lacked, a lot of them have lacked that structure, where you know that the backbone, the back end is solid, and you can press as many other buttons. It allows us to do what we do. But I know that if my legal is solid, my finance is solid, and someone can look at what we do and say, this makes sense, or you're currently not making sense. You're going to reach that red line very soon. What's your plan for the next 3 months, 6 months? Because it's coming.
Yeah.
So even that foresight and forward planning becomes key. It's not just an opinion about the things we are doing. It's just sustaining what we're doing now. Because we're also at a stage of maturity where I need people around me to help sustain what I do. Because I'm kind of a first generation of people to have done it like this, independently in most times, to the scale. And my kids need to see it being a real thing for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And those structures allow for us to be able to do that. Whether you want to close shop in 2 years or 3 years, but you had sustained it to a point where it has built value now. You can even transact or sell it on or whatever the case is. So it becomes critically important, at least for me, to be able to do that. I think it's to fulfill myself. It's not even to do it for someone else because we have to. As a black bro, I could do it. No, I'm not there. At the moment, I'm like, okay, to have done all of these things, to have started at 206 or handing out flyers at 88, freelancing, driving bands, to have done all of these things, interning at different places, to be able to be in the position that I am in. How do you sustain that? How do you make sure that someone else can continue with it from the point where it's at now? Because I can build it to where I'm at now. So it's like checking in with yourself and your business and a bit of reflection, so that even when I speak to a younger Theresho, who's a young promoter, a young band manager, we are there to give them the shortcuts to where we at.
Yeah.
That's literally, but I need to see where you are. I need to see your proactiveness. I'm not going to find where you are and try and patch it, because even the people that I work with or that I mentor are people that kind of have made themselves visible and persistent and ask the questions or chase you to find you at the corner of the bar to say, yo, man, I really need you for this one specific thing, not mentor me. Hey, where, how?
I mean, the mentorship conversation is an interesting one. I think I've had it a couple of times on the podcast, because I reached the point where when somebody'd say, can you mentor me? I'd say, okay, what does that look like?
Sure.
What are the mechanics? Yes. What are the mechanics of it? And it was because I went to somebody once, quite high profile, and I said, I want you to mentor me. And they were like, listen, this is a two-way process.
Sure. 100%.
And you need to have a sense. I'm not here to do the work for you.
Yes.
So you need to have a sense of where you feel you need that help.
Yeah.
As we go, like, we'll figure it out together.
Sure.
But as a starting point, it's not just it's like, what, in your relationship with your partner,
yes,
as a parent, as a friend, as what?
As like, what? Where? Which part?
So it's that, what does it look like?
Yeah.
Which means the person has actually put in the work.
Yes.
And I think, what I learned was that most people who mentor regularly, they want to see you having putting in the work.
Yeah.
And their job is to just help with whatever insights and guide you and focus you to a certain extent.
True. which is critical. And I think I'm at that stage. It's important, you know what I mean? However you structure it, whether it's structured, it's how frequent, we have to be doing that. And I have to be doing that with someone else as well. Someone that I look up to in terms of relationships, or it's business, or it's just community, because it feeds me and fulfills me in different ways. And it will never exist in one person. Yeah. And that's why I tap into multiple different people, some from afar. They don't even know. I just watch life and their lives and how they supposedly do their lives. And I take from that. And even for people that are younger than me, that are coming after me, it's about doing exactly that, but being intentional with where do you need the help? Where do you need but you need to be clearer in approach.
Yeah.
Because it solves so many things. Otherwise, we disappoint each other. Because then you become disappointed. Oh, Grootman, don't want to take care of us. Wait. Because I have these conversations often with young people and even ourselves, even with like people that are much further than us. Guys would say, no, but this generation didn't pass on knowledge, or they're eating by themselves. But how and when did we approach them in a structured way to tell them exactly what do we need from them in the positions of influence that they are in? Because if you've never done that, you are literally just letting yourself down. Yeah. I cannot put it on someone else that I didn't have this opportunity because you guys have closed, or gatekeeping, or then every generation will have that conversations amongst themselves.
And sometimes it's not even a deliberate gatekeeping.
True.
I mean, as you're describing it, it's nobody has ever come and said, I need guidance with X, Y,
True.
Z. And it's very clear.
Yeah.
Because it's this open-ended thing, then it feels like, it feels like you want to take. Yes. You want to take advantage.
Yes.
And for example, there was a stage where I just used to say no.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you have a perception of how my life is working. But right now things are tough.
Sure.
I don't share it.
Yes.
And so I'd say to people, do you know what? Right now I am literally focusing on myself, my family.
Yeah.
In particular, my kids.
Sure.
So if I'm going to be mentoring anyone, it's my kids.
True.
Because right now, like, I need to put my energy into, it looks nice from the outside, but I'm struggling to pay bills.
Sure.
My debit orders are all bouncing end of the month. Like, I may have intention, but I do not have the energy right now to be able to sit down with you and talk about the things that that are challenging you.
True.
And then it's the same thing. It's like, I know you don't want to help because you just said no. And I'm not giving you an explanation. I'm just like, look.
At that point, you're not even giving those explanations.
Like, listen, right now, I'm focusing on other things. So I can't do it for you.
Sure.
Then we interpret.
Yeah, and then we interpret, because I've had to do that multiple times for similar reasons, whether I'm not in a good space or my energy is just not there. I'm depleted because of my different parts of my life that require me to be there, and I'm not even there like that, whether it's for my kids, for my partner, for different parts of my life that I don't feel I'm showing up in the best way. And for someone outside of my universe to arrive and demand it in question of I'm asking for mentorship, it becomes hard, because whether it comes through a DM or someone approaches you at an event, because the work that I do is also very visible.
So you're always out and about.
So I'm always out and about, but you really do not know my life. You know my work and the perception that it gives you of the kind of person I might be, or this or that, because I've done that deliberately, just so that I have solace, so a place where I can exist as well. Because everything else and the people around, it's quite a visible space where I guess if I was the IT guy that I could have been, I'd have had a hella peaceful life and different challenges, I guess. But I could have had couldn't have had a visible life like
and also the names that you associate
what I mean?
with is such that, especially in this day and age,
Sure.
where, like Nati, like a black coffee, etc., where people want is, I'm sure you even question, like, is this person coming to me because of me?
That one comes too much.
or because they've noticed in the videos, after a while, they noticed that this guy, he's there with Nelson. He's there with Black Coffee. Oh, I want to get to those people.
Yes.
So let me try and use him.
Yeah, those convos I have a lot. Because you also have to, ego aside, have those conversations with yourself and with the people that are high profile people around you. Because sometimes they will tell you, hey, this is happening because of us. Sorry. So just watch it, because it's like 3-4 steps away from how people can get to them, or wanting some sort of way to relate to them or connect with them. So even when we move around here or wherever it is, always be vigilant in why people are even speaking to you.
Yeah.
And that takes, I guess, a different level of maturity and keeping we all have egos, but keeping your ego in check as well in every space that you exist in, because it's there.
Because your value as a person is not because of proximity.
No.
Like your value, and like you're saying, it requires a certain element of maturity and self-awareness.
Sure.
Because it's understanding your value as a human being, your value as a professional. It's understanding this relationship and the boundaries of this relationship.
Yes.
Like we may be friends in a particular context, but within this context, we are colleagues.
Yes, we're colleagues, and I have a very particular role in that space.
Yeah.
Which is to literally navigate, protect you, and also create opportunities for you. And it's a very tough job to do that, because you are guarding what everyone wants to get to, and you're making decisions for this particular person in agreement with that person, with that particular talent, that we are going to entertain these kind of things. We'll look at opportunities like this. So when you've been given the right to speak on their behalf, or the right to be a custodian of their brand, even in a room,
immense responsibility.
It's a lot of responsibility. And when you sit across someone who says, but you're not the guy, did you ask that person that they really don't want to do the deal? Because then you like, but wait.
It's an attempt to undermine now and insert oneself in that
relationship. So it's a lot of senior people do that, or senior brand people, or people want to do a deal. But hey, I can call that guy now. And he will, like, you know what I mean?
I've got his number.
So I'm like, okay, it's fine. You can go ahead and do that phone. But in that moment, I can either feel demeaned or feel attacked, but there's a certain level of hard skin that is required.
Yeah.
And keeping your job and the important thing important. That's what you are there to do.
And therefore not getting angry and then carrying on that negotiation from that space.
Or getting emotional about it.
Because it's like, okay, no, you feel like that, but I know what this relationship is.
For sure.
I know what my responsibility is
100%.
within it. So you can do that. You'll end up back with me again.
Yes.
So you can try that route.
Sure.
And I've had it once or twice with a particular client, because I also serve as a go-between.
Sure.
And I've had that a couple of instances where the person goes to, and it's just an email address, but like they email the client sends me the email.
Sure.
I then email to say, hey, listen, I manage this process.
Yes.
So here are the terms and conditions.
Correct.
Because also I pay. Like client pays me, and then I pay you. you're doing work for them.
Yeah.
But actually, contractually, you're doing work for me. But because of the nature of the relationship, then they'll go back there.
Sure.
Because they're like, okay,
times.
they're like, this guy, because I'm also just like, here are the parameters,
Sure.
here are the terms and conditions. And I manage, and I've built a network of writers across Africa and Asia for my client. So over the years, I've used over 100 people in like over 35 different countries. Wow. So I'm also like, yo, you don't email me and you get an email immediately.
Sure.
I work on my schedule.
That's also another important thing.
You don't WhatsApp me.
Sure.
Like the relationship is an email relationship. I only use WhatsApp when it's an emergency. Otherwise, and then if
you're a lot more firmer.
No, and sure. I became like that towards the end of my time at Destiny Man.
Okay.
And then when I left, my whole thing was you need to teach people the parameters of engaging with you. So I removed, like I haven't had notifications on my devices for probably 10 years now.
Sure. It's a peaceful life.
It doesn't beep, it doesn't whatever. I see messages when I consciously go in.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I also work with Europeans. So weekends, I'm not working.
Sure.
So
that's the culture for them.
So now WhatsApping me on a Saturday. Like, I'm not working.
Sure.
The work that we do, there's no emergency.
Sure.
That will require me to speak to you on a Saturday, on a Sunday.
Sure.
Like, it's not that deep. Like, the work that we do, it's not life-threatening.
Yes. It's never life-threatening.
Right? And generally, after a certain time, during the week, I'm not working.
Sure.
So you'll message me, and I'll see it.
You get
and I'll reply you tomorrow.
When I get a chance.
Or what I do, if like in a particular evening, like I need to get some stuff done, like if I'm putting together briefs,
sure,
I schedule send 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
8 o'clock.
I'm sitting, it's 8 o'clock tonight. And I'm doing the work because I know that tomorrow I'm not going to have the time to do this thing and it's on my to-do list. So I don't have somebody sitting and waiting and going, have you done the thing?
I'm waiting for that.
But email. How I have planned, I know this week I wanted to do X amount of this particular task.
Yeah.
I haven't done it. And it's now Thursday. So Thursday night, I'm like, okay, I'm going to put in an extra 2 hours.
Sure.
Because I was busy the whole day. And then I'll do the work. And then I'll literally schedule it for 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. You are listening to the Listen to Your Footsteps podcast, a podcast in which I chat to Africans from a cross-section of society and sectors, including art, culture, design, business, and creativity, to name a few. We delve into their journeys, the decisions they have taken to get to where they are, how they do what they do, and everything in between. Essentially, we go wherever the spirit takes us. Now let's get back into the conversation.
I wish my life was run like that.
Yeah, unfortunately, so my wife runs conferences and events. So like I recognize it's the same. Like exactly. You cannot. Especially when you're working on a project and it's leading up to.
Sure, it's leading
because
up
there's so much stuff happening.
It bleeds into the evening. There's weekends. There's all sorts of things as well. Multiple teams. So that one day. I'm gonna have a landline. You can only reach me via a landline.
I dream of that. I miss landlines.
You will only reach me via a landline, and I might buy my name off of the internet as well. Those are my two dreams.
So you said something interesting when you're talking about, like, you know, running the business and establishing the business and the structures behind it. And this is a conversation. It's a conversation I've had multiple times, and it's what's also influenced the way I've approached my business.
Sure.
So, I mean, you talked about two things. So the one thing you talked about was your children.
Yeah.
and them being able to see. But you didn't talk about building to leave for them.
Sure.
Which I thought was really interesting because so I was raised by an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to take over the family businesses. I'm first son.
Sure.
From when I was 15, 16, I was being groomed for that.
Sure.
What I studied, I worked like during school holidays. At 15, I was my father's research assistant.
Sure.
Like I was editing his work. At university, I used to go home once a month because I had a shop selling hair products and salon equipment.
Sure.
So I'd take a bus from Durban to Maseru to do stock take.
Sure. Wow.
And we started an IT company. That's how I ended up starting an IT company when I moved here, because we had an IT company in Lesotho.
Sure.
And when I started this business and businesses I've had, my whole thing was, I'm not going to put that on my children. Like if they want to down the line, cool. But I'm not going to set out to create a business to leave for my children because I don't know what they're going to be interested in down the line.
Do or interested in.
So I found that very interesting when you went, you're working, you're building to serve as an example for them in terms of what they're capable of doing.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily to say,
it's not for
I'm
them
building
to
this
take
thing for
over.
you.
No. I think it's in two parts for me. First part is I didn't have that as a child where something was expected of me. And I find that it's rare for someone or the background that I have to not have had those kind of expectations set on themselves to say, Sharp, you must be a doctor, or this IT thing, you're going to finish it and then do whatever you want to do because you've got a bursary. And my parents, bless them, let me carve out my own path and supported me with everything. Whether I wanted to join RAG, what is RAG? You guys are throwing parties, bashes, all sorts of things during
the party. And then you claim it's
funny. But they understood that. And because even when we were on RAG, we had to maintain the varsity, we had to sign a contract with the university that you're going to maintain a specific average. As long as your academics were fine, you could stay on RAG. If your academics drop below 60, you're out, for instance. So those kind of things and parameters and them knowing and me being able to communicate with my parents on that front, the university allowed me to do, it was a show and tell, like show us that you can manage both. The one becomes heavier, the main thing must remain, which is why you're at school. We are paying school fees for you to be here, not to book Oskido and throw parties. So fast forward to them being exposed to my world in that way. My kids have also been exposed to what I do, and they also try to understand what I do on a day-to-day, but I've had to also learn that they are their own people.
Yeah.
And they are learning different things. The one time they love soccer, and then we had soccer clubs, soccer academies, and then I'm in ball now, I like basketball. And then my son is like that. He wants to try all the sports, where my daughter she loves swimming, she loves water, and she's doing amazingly well in that kind of space. And I don't know what they're gonna end up wanting to do. I've built a culture, communication business. That's what I wanted to do and what I do. But the only thing that I can give them is showing them a work ethic, responsibility, and all of the values that I would like them to take away from me and also instill in them, and just knowing that you need to work for every single thing that you do to build value, to have a life that you are living now is because of X and Y. And the times that I'm away or I travel a lot, they understand or get to see why I do that as well. But asiyabona. It's not their company.
It's like that whole.
So I could never.
We're rich. No,
Yes,
I'm rich.
I am
not.
rich. We are rich. Lena, you can see rich people, and you're part of them. You're an extended members of this, and you are direct beneficiaries. But they need to carve their own paths, and also mine and ours is to give them the best opportunity to be able to do that. Whether they want to skate or they want to end up being scientists or end up in technology, as long as we give them the best opportunity to be able to do that well, and do that the best of their abilities. And they will be able to build life by themselves in their own ways. You know what I mean? Because that's the only thing at the moment, at this stage in my life, that I can do for them as well.
How have you managed, well, not managed, like say managed within yourself? I mean, you travel.
Sure.
So there's long periods. I mean, your children are getting older now, they're reaching a particular age, but you've been like that since they were young.
Sure.
How have you navigated that, like being away from small children? So, and I asked that because I remember when I was a Destiny man, and at some stage I was traveling every month.
Sure, I remember that.
And then I'm phoning home, trying to speak to my 2-year-old son or 3-year-old who I'm missing.
Sure.
And they're not interested in talking to you.
Sure.
And I mean, with him, it was still, like, at least with my daughter, kind of the video calling was a bit more developed.
Sure.
Like with my son, it was literally audio.
That's it. Sure.
And like, yeah, I want to talk. And it's like, he's not interested.
Sure.
He's like, I'm busy. Like, he used to be like, yo, I'm busy.
I know that feeling.
and just kind of trying to manage that internally. Like, and I mean, it's for fathers as well as mothers, but
Sure.
as fathers, we also experience it, which some people don't think we do. How did you navigate that? And have you gone to a point where there's some element of balance?
I think it's hard. It's definitely hard. Traveling away from your family, kids, is hard. And being able to check in specifically with them is something that has always been important. You know what I mean? And I know their schedules and when to be able to call them before they either go to bed or do this, but also them knowing that I want to connect. Wherever I am, whatever the time zones are, me wanting to connect is also as important as well, for them to have that knowledge. So managing that, now that they're older, they don't like me traveling. You know what I mean? They don't like now
because they have opinions now.
Now they've got opinions. My daughter hates it if I tell her that, hey, I'm doing a show, Durban, or we're going to US. And also, I think there was a period, COVID time, just after COVID, where I traveled for quite a long period of time. It was an 8-week trip, which is long.
Yeah.
It's hard because we're on the red list. We're going to the US to do solo exhibition with Nelson in LA, but we had to quarantine for 17 days. So that adds 17 days plus getting there, setting up production for the whole show, and we were running this exhibition downtown LA ourselves. So it was a very, very long time. And that stayed with them, that when I travel or when I say I'm going internationally, how long are you going? So the number of sleeps that we agree on have to be the number of sleeps that we agree on. I'm not adding or changing a flight, because that comes from that particular experience, which became very hard because even time zones were crazy and messy. And that's the longest I've ever been away from them. You know what I mean? And that for both of us was very hard. So them knowing what time I'm coming back on a day-to-day, or how many sleeps are you going to be away for, becomes important. You know what I mean?
And
To
there's
self-regulate and
there's a
manage
relationship
themselves.
with the children. There's relationship with your partner.
Yes.
There's trying to navigate those two things,
and her responsibilities, and having a partner that is the constant is key. Because I would never be able to do 80% of what I do, not even half. You know what I mean? And we had to be very focused and deliberate about how we want to structure our life, specifically so that there's a stability for them, and routine for them as kids. Especially now, they're still young. You know what I mean? And they're growing, and they can see how we've deliberately. It's not this one is bringing this or this one is doing this. No, it's in agreement.
And that routine,
it involves them.
And that routine runs the same way when you're there.
Correct.
And when you're away.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm the consistent one. I'm the one that's home.
Okay.
I'm the one that's home all the time. And it has been like that for a number of years.
Sure.
Where, it's funny, like every now and then somebody will go, well, how do you manage? And I'm just like, I didn't even think about it. Just, they were all used to,
sure.
So mom's away for a week. And
Yeah.
she's back. And then in 3 weeks' time, she's away a week. And then all of a sudden she's working at an office.
Yeah.
Like, because we both work from home.
Sure.
But all of a sudden she's waking up and she's going to an office. Because for the next 2 months.
There's a project.
And then
of
she's
this nature.
off. I mean, she was one of the more recent ones. All of a sudden she's in the office, and then she was in Durban for like a week.
Yeah.
And then she comes back, and it's like life just goes. Like it turns around, and I've stopped thinking about, okay, how do we make it work? It's just like, this is kind of our norm.
Sure. It becomes a norm. And I guess it becomes a new way of how we've had to design our lives away from the norm. You know what I mean? Where people are leaving more in the morning to go to work, to come back at a specific time. That's always been the norm for, at least in my household, growing up. It always was the norm, you know. My mother was a nurse. My father was in education and then banking, or banking and then education. And they went to work and they came back. And then sometimes my mother would be in theater for over weekends or for extra hours or whatever the case is. And she does a lot of side things, Tupperware, detox. So she became the traveling party. And my father was the one that was always there. Take us to things or be there, you know what I mean? And even till today, she's the busiest Kokwani Magogo that I know. I'm like, why are you still even traveling around, going this thing and do that thing? And that's where we relate as well, because I got that from her, I guess, you know what I mean?
I think it's a conversation I've had several times, because I'm fascinated and curious about how our children are growing up and relate to the idea of work. Because, it's the case with you, like my circle, a lot of the people in my circle don't wake up and go to an office and then come back.
Sure.
And so our children are growing up with a different idea of what
work
is. So I remember, I think my daughter was probably about like 8, 9. And I was like, I think I need to get a job. Things were tough. I'd been kind of on my own for years, freelancing, radio show here, and then I'm doing some writing for someone, and then doing a little campaign here, but nothing consistent. And I think I was 2-3 years away from 50. And I was like, actually, do you know what? Maybe let me go get a job.
Sure.
To stabilize myself And then at 50, I can go back to, because I like
this
my
life.
life.
Yes.
I like being able to own my time.
Sure.
And so I was driving my kids to school, and I said to my kids, I was like, listen, so I am possibly going to get a job. And my daughter's like, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
I'm like, like a job, like work. And she says, but you work. Because I have my desk, I have my little office in the house.
Sure.
She sees me there.
She sees you working.
Every day. I'm sitting at my desk. So she's like, no, but you work.
Sure.
I'm like, no. I'll probably go, like, it'll be going somewhere. So in the morning, I'll drop you off at school, and then I'll go somewhere and spend the day there.
Sure.
So I'll work for somebody else. She was like, I don't understand, but sharp.
Yeah, that's the understanding of what work is.
And I was like,
today.
yeah, actually,
Wow.
because I left a job when she was 2.
Sure.
So her whole life, she's 14 now. So basically, her whole life, I've been in the house.
Wow.
I've worked from home.
Sure.
So this idea of people waking up in the morning to go somewhere.
Sure.
And even when her mother's done it, it's like consulting for a place. So for a year, she's going in and out of that. But she has a desk at home, and everybody knows she has her own business. So it's just assumption that, okay, for this next year, she's going into a place because she's working on that project.
On that project, that's it.
But it's still not, the idea of a salaried job. And so I'm curious, I've been watching like this generation or our kids will hopefully grow up with a healthier idea of what work is.
Sure.
And not something that takes over your whole life.
100%. And I'm for that, and I'm happy for that they've seen me in the context that they've seen me and how I relate to work and designing my own time and taking on projects and things that I take on, and sometimes I don't, you know what I mean? Or making sure that Mondays I'm at home the whole day because that's my weekend per se, you know what I mean? Decompress, and I'm able to do this and that, can be able to go pick them up or go to a game here and there. So it becomes important for them to see us in that light.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I'm not clocking in, there's nothing wrong with that. But them being able to have a different relationship with the idea of what work is.
And having the options. So it's not just this one way.
Sure.
Which for a lot of us grew up with. It's one way.
Yeah.
Like you wake up early, get dressed, you go in, you come back.
100%.
End of the month, somebody pays you.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't have that because my father worked from himself from when I was 11, which gave me a very different perspective.
Sure.
But it's saying to our kids, you have options.
You've got options. It's important.
Like if you feel you want to do that, you want to go that route, go work in a corporate, great. Sure. But you must do it because you're like, actually, this is what will fulfill me.
And for me, that's part of the responsibility that I've kind of taken on and that we've taken on to give them those options. You know what I mean? That you do not have to have one particular route of going to school, going to university or college or whatever to be able to get into the workspace and clock in. If you want to run your own business, this is what it's going to take. If you want to do this, this is what it's going to take. And being able to design those options for our children, for our generation, has been a very fulfilling thing to do.
Yeah.
Because there was either the option of working and then hustling that you have to do after hours or weekends. That was the only other way you could add or at least cover the shortfall of your life, whether it's financially or whatever other aspirations you might have. And I've seen how that also burnt a lot of us and a lot of our generation and our uncles and aunts and mothers, because they had to do so much extra just to make sure that they do have an option between this shop and that shop. between doing this and that, because this kept the basics up and running. But the other little bits that they aspired for us or themselves, they had to sacrifice and do so much more, which burns them.
Because it's out of desperation. It's tied to survival, as opposed to this looks interesting.
A choice of sorts, you know what I mean?
This looks interesting. Yes. I've got this other stuff.
Sure.
But this looks interesting enough, and there'll be added benefits of maybe financial, etc.
Sure.
But it looks interesting enough that I'm willing to add it to my load.
100%.
Whereas there it was like, okay, this thing that takes up most of my time is not enough.
Sure.
So I need to chase after these things just to get enough.
Yeah. And I come from the generation that had that shift, you know what I mean? Where we're moving now from Mamelodi to the burbs, or the choice of the kind of school my parents wanted to take us to required them to have 2-3 other income streams. So that the English is different now. Because when I got there, I couldn't speak English. Now, I'm in standard 2, standard 1, whatever. These guys are rocking. There's a Korean kid next to me. Like, hey, how? But if you don't realize or recognize that those parallel income streams for that theater nurse to be able, because they aspired for something for you and still didn't dictate where you must land up. That for me that's why I was saying that I was blessed not to have had something dictated to me, but it gave me the opportunity to design and experience life the way that I did, because that's where I come from.
Yeah.
I come from a work ethic that did 2, maybe 3 times extra so that I could have some options. That, yes, we had, the lights were on or this or that, but these other income streams, that's what allowed me to be able to go to the kind of school I could go to be able to do 1 or 2 extramural things, to be able to do whatever, to be able to have an idea, what is a holiday? Hey, it's not going home back to Limpopo to my grandmother, but a holiday, you go away and you do nothing, but you have to pay for this thing, but you pay for it not from your salary. And because it helped us connect and just find a different way. And you carry those things into your life. And as I reflect, I'm like, okay, I want that. And I want to keep parts of that. I want that for these 2.
Yeah.
I want that going forward, you know what I mean? And what do I need to do in order to be able to have that? And it's not always just financial. It's also
absolutely.
It's also just realizing what it took, because it's a different time now. We all have managed to design our lives in so many different amazing ways. Like our generation, because we grew up in multiple generations as well. And here we are doing our own thing. And now we need to hand over to the next generation for them to be able to design a world that is going to be completely different to ours, which has already started changing. And also not locate them geographically just in one place, mentally and physically as well, because they're competing with other lighties and other daughters all over the world to design, like the world must just be a playground with whatever they want to do and how they do it. And even education, and like when my kids are gaming and how they learn about different countries, cultures, and they're speaking while they're gaming with their friends. And I'm so amazed at how the world has become that much smaller for them in that regard. And it's not as distant or far away as it used to be for me, for instance. Yeah.
I mean, I believe that we're all links in a chain that goes back down our people.
Sure.
And each generation's responsibility is to take the family a step up.
Sure.
So the step that my father started from, I didn't start from the same step. I started from the next step up. And my children should be able to start from the step above that. And I believe that's, as a father, where it's like, that's my responsibility and that's my duty.
Sure.
I feel like that That's at the foundation of it. In whatever, emotionally, like you're saying, physically,
Sure.
emotionally, spiritually, mentally, etc.
Sure.
They must start from a step up.
100%. And that is so true, because it also relieves you of the things that you put on yourself. That I'm here to contribute for this particular moment and this generation. I can contribute. If it bleeds into the future in some other way, I can't take that on now as well.
Yeah.
Because it will also, again, there's the fatigue that we've always had to carry for so many people and so many things, that sometimes you must also just rest in where you are, and the contributions that you are making are enough. And it's sufficient. Because I think from that, because we've always had the tension of wanting to do more, wanting to chase, and it hurts us.
Yeah.
It takes away so much, and it becomes, you get fatigued around that. And also just reflecting on what you've managed to do for now and the contribution that you need to make, like you're mentioning, for this particular moment and for the generation that we exist in, which is key.
Yeah.
It's so important as well, yeah.
As we close up, what's exciting you right now, inspiring you? Across the board, like in any sphere, in any kind of space.
So many different things. There's so many harsh things in the world at the same time. But I don't pay attention too much to that. I think young people excite me. For me, it's like they're living in the toughest time, I think, in the world that the world has ever been in, but also creating and doing things in their own way and taking up responsibilities. And I've never seen in our industry, in our space, as many managers or as many registered companies or as many invoicings flying around, people doing business with each other, 22-year-olds invoicing each other, paying each other. You're going to come and shoot me for my content piece because you've got the camera. Like, that's never happened. It's grown now. And there's so many levels to it. And we're exporting the most amount of talent that we've ever exported in so many different forms, in DJs, artists, choreographers, graphic designers that are doing work for other people in different currency because it's cheaper here. And it's all happening now as well. And this generation finding their voice in their own way is also key. That's exciting. And also how the world has become smaller and the world recognizing what our continent is about and us also just finding our voices in every way we can as well. Us having these kind of conversations, us being a bit more in tune with our emotions, spirituality, health, wellness, like that's what they always taught us at school about self-actualization. That thing wasn't never a real thing.
Yeah.
But
so true.
For me is when I see people nurture themselves or going to the salon. You've been going to the salon 19 years for the same cat. I'm like, even that's self-actualization, taking care of yourself in a more holistic way.
Yeah.
I think we are from a harsh period that we came from to a more complete human being. We don't have to get it perfect, but we're conscious that there are so many parts of us and the things we're unlearning every single day, things that we're keeping each other in check about and checking in, just Oshapo Joe, are you fine? And being able to answer you with honesty.
Yeah, like
for me, we've been like, that for me is a software upgrade of conversations that we could have never had before. Or sharp, and I'm like, sharp, or just brush it down.
Yeah.
But being able to go slightly further and hear each other, that's for me is what excites me now in the world and with my brothers, my sisters, the people around me, the things we're doing. It will always have the different challenges that it comes with, but we can have better conversations. We can check in with each other. We're more conscious about specific things about ourselves as well. And that for me is the software upgrade that has needed to happen and that has naturally happened for ourselves, and everyone just owning a piece of it and internalizing it for themselves in whatever and wherever they are in their life at the particular moment in time as well. Not getting too heavy, but
no, that's dope. That's dope. Like
that's where
software upgrade. That's what it actually That's what it actually is.
I always tell my youngest sister that for me, she's our family's software upgrade because I see how she has made us more conscious. She's made us communicate better as a wider family. She's made my parents more emotional. I've never seen my parents emotional in my entire life, but I've seen my father be emotional. I've seen my mother speak differently about things. And because she exists in a world where she's that person, you know what I mean? And what she represents in the family for me is that software upgrade. You know what I mean? Because there's also clear big gaps in our age differences. And I've had to unlearn a lot of things. My parents have had to, I've had to, in how we relate, them understanding. She's a poet and a writer, and she studied law, but she went on to open up. I would have never seen that happen in the context of where we come from and our family, you know what I mean? And for me, those are small software upgrades. My kids are a software upgrade. Me being able to speak to them candidly, openly, and them being able to relate to me on a day-to-day basis. And like all of those things are software upgrades of how we've become as a person, as Theresho, how you've known me and have seen me over the years. As it's a different being with the stresses and everything else that I carry as well. But the software upgrade is what excites me in where I am in my life at the moment.
Dope. Thank you.
Thank you.
See, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that painful. The oxygen didn't start thinning, bro.
Thank you for listening to this conversation. Please leave a review and subscribe. Check out the show notes for links to the guest, the podcast, and myself. I hope you enjoyed listening to the conversation as much as I enjoyed having it.